and talk a little bit of fisticuffs for a little bit. So we finally got a little bit of clarity about the UFC heavyweight championship and the Jon Jones fiasco last year. And by clarity, I mean we know absolutely nothing at this point. We're going to start here. Good old Ariel Helwani. Anyone who's been in the know knows that since 2016, Ariel Helwani and the UFC have been the exact opposite of bros. In fact, they treat him. They've been mortal enemies, for lack of a better terms, in the same space. What Ariel reported a few weeks ago. Jon Jones was offered all the money he wanted. He asked for FU money to fight Tom Aspinall, literally FU money. They said, and then at that point they said, yeah, sure. They offered it to him. He said yes, and then he backed out of it. Then he said, no, I don't want to. I changed my mind. And that was kind of more or less Dana White unintentionally hinted at that during the press conference where he said, like, oh, yeah, Jon agreed to the fight. But they didn't report the part where he backed out. They just said, oh, he agreed to it. And he claimed, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what Johnny's talking about on X because he's saying all sorts of tomfoolery on Twitter, basically alluding to he will never fight Tom, saying he's not going to, which you are perfectly within your rights. You don't have to fight Tom. You are a grown man. You don't have to fight Tom. However, your legacy is still mostly intact. But we're going to ignore the steroids at the 17,000 bus. We'll ignore everything off there. We're not going to get into that at this point. The problem where it gets a little bit uncomfortable is then you tweet something like this when Francis Ngannou says he wants to come back. Now you're interested in fighting. You just said that you didn't want to, that you hadn't been training. You were in Thailand living your best life. Now you're talking about a clash of champions with Francis Ngannou, the fight we wanted for 3 years. This is the perfect comment. I don't even have to say anything. The 3 years they wanted it, you were nowhere to be seen. You had to quote unquote bulk up, and you came in with a really, really uncomfortable potbelly for an athlete of your caliber. You disappeared for 3 years for this fight, and now suddenly you want it. Nothing has really changed during this time. There is a contender in Tom Aspinall right there. If you don't want to fight him, vacate the belt, retire, whatever. You said before Stipe's fight that you weren't interested in, you wanted super fights only. Everyone kind of gets that. Okay, you have like maybe a handful of fights left. Okay. Then you say things like you want to fight Derek Lewis, and then you want to fight Jamal Hill. Those are not super fights. The only thing super is how hot will Derek Balls get before he throws off his shorts in the middle of that fight. That is an absolutely asinine claim. Go ahead and drop the belt. That is fine. But you can't say things like this and then just be like, no, it clearly shows ducking at this point. You're avoiding Tom Aspinall at all costs. Here today, gone tomorrow, whatever you want to say it is. Get rid of the belt then and go fight on your own time. You say the UFC knows your plans, that they should just say that they just haven't said anything like that, which is the other part of this problem. Don't get me wrong, John, the issue is here with all this, but my other problem is with the UFC. Dana, what happened to you, my friend? What is going on? Are you even the UFC president anymore by more than title? Are you too busy with power slap and gambling with social media guys? What are we doing here? You're used to never let something like this fly. Your patience with fighters used to be thinner than my hair. I can't believe we're at this point now. When Tyron Woodley even alluded to try and ask him to fight GSP, even the thought of it, because Stephen Thompson said he wanted to fight Robbie Lawler with the belt before Tyron beat him, you unleashed scorched earth on him and were basically threatening to steal the title, take the title off of him. You put an interim belt when he asked to delay to fight a month later than what they had scheduled. Then you threw an interim belt on there, and it sat around. There have been a bunch of interim titles over the UFC's history. 2 people have ever defended them. And then Barao from the early 2010s when Dominic Cruz was going through his litany of injuries. And now Tom Aspinall, who has a interim title defense with a healthy champion. This is absolutely asinine. And the fact that this is going on, it's basically like if in 2017, Tom Brady and the Patriots, like, I don't really want to play the Eagles. Nick Foles is here today, gone tomorrow. We're living our best life. This won't add to my GOAT legacy. What if I lose? Or even when the Chiefs played the Eagles 2 years ago, this doesn't add to our legacy. They beat Daniel Jones, who's mediocre. They shouldn't have been there. And then they beat the 49ers after Brock Purdy got hurt in the first quarter and Christian McCaffrey was playing quarterback. What are we doing here? How did we get to this point? Dana White, you need to quit trying to be a boxing promoter and a power slap promoter, everything else. Get back in there. Either Jon Jones is fighting or he's not. Whatever. Get this division moving. Like, what are we doing? If Tom Aspinall is as good as most people think he is, to the point where he was a betting favorite over Jon Jones when it was initially potentially going to be booked back in November, we should see him out there then. Find a way to get him out there. Get him out there. Fight somebody else. Jon wants to come back. He can fight for the championship. There you go, John. That adds to your legacy because now you're a 2-time heavyweight champion. if you end up beating him to take the title back. You don't want to, Alex Pereira is available. You mentioned that fight. You can go fight him. He is available. And just for the last record, too, Jon Jones is 28-1 right now in his UFC career. Coming into the decade, coming into 2020, into the 2020s, he was 25-1. He has fought 3 times this decade. Since 2015, that was when he got stripped of the belt because of the hit and run issue. And that's when a lot of the outside the cage issues really started coming to fruition, where they had to cancel his fight with Anthony Johnson. Daniel Cormier ended up winning the title, et cetera, et cetera. Since that point, he has fought 8 times. That is literally less than a fight a year. That is 8 times in a decade. Like, we can't be seriously having this conversation. UFC, you can't let him dangle you. And no one in the NFL would let Tom Brady get away with this. No other sports organization, you have one player completely holding an organization hostage. So they got to figure this out. This is just embarrassing to watch. Get the heavyweight division moving. If they're holding this for a TV deal, like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, it's the weirdest thing. It's either the absolute worst promotion of all time, or it is by far the greatest way to hype up a fight I've ever seen, because it has me and all the MMA fans losing their damn mind over it, which means if this fight does get signed, everyone's tuning in. So either it's the best promotion I've ever seen, or it's the biggest embarrassment of all time. I don't know which yet, but I'm done ranting because I'm just annoyed at this point.